I spent last evening with Mr. Pickwick. He read from A Christmas Carol during the courses of a four-course meal. Was it wonderful? Yes and no. I'll tell you all about it. Come with me as I take you to the Orchard Inn for an eventful dinner. Hi, I'm Sandy from Sandy Over 70. Welcome to my channel. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already. And if you enjoy this or find it entertaining, please click the like button. I live in a continuing care retirement community, and we often have excursions that are offered to us for an additional fee. Sometimes there's no fee depending where we go. This was one of the most unusual ones because there was a pretty hefty fee, and we were told we would be going to Saluda, North Carolina, which is about, in traffic, it's about 45 minutes southeast of Asheville. And it would be in the evening, starting at 6:30. There would be a four-course dinner at an inn, and there would be readings of A Christmas Carol. I signed up for it. I signed up for everything. Why not? Especially since at this point I don't really like driving at night anymore. Do you? No, I'd rather not. And this was dark and it was a 45-minute ride. No, I wasn't going to do this. So it was perfect. So we got on our community bus. There were about 22 of us plus 2 staff members, and off we went to the Orchard Inn. I'd never been there before. Unfortunately, it was pitch black. I couldn't see anything, but I understand that there's a really gorgeous view from this inn, a long-range mountain view. We got there at 6 o'clock with plenty of time to check out the inn. The Orchard Inn is a bed and breakfast in Saluda, North Carolina. And you can see there's a desk right here to greet people and a dog to greet people. Isn't he cute? Hello. There's games over there, a sign-in book, lots of candles everywhere. It's decorated beautifully for Christmas. Big tree, blazing fire in this little seating area here. Coffee service, very homey like bed and breakfasts are, unlike the sterility of the hotels. Looks like they have some things for sale over here. Yes, they do. Some honey, lotions, and some t-shirts that say the Orchard Inn, and oh yes, a cat. Hello, kitty cat. Hors d'oeuvres, all kinds of cheeses, broccoli for the guests, and the library is over here. I met Mr. Pickwick in the lobby and had a brief chat with him. I asked him if he was Dickens, and he said no, he was Mr. Pickwick. Hello.
Hello.
Are you Mr. Dickens by any chance?
They call me Mr. Pickwick.
Oh.
So, I mean, that's how they'll introduce me.
Oh, okay.
Meeting the Dickens.
Okay, thank you. Can't wait. His name is Steve Carlisle, and he's a local actor. We sat down at exactly 6:30. A man with a xylophone played some notes to indicate that it was time for everyone to sit down. There were other people besides those from our community there, so it was a large group. Our retirement community had a trip scheduled, and of course I signed up for it, to the Orchard Inn in Saluda, North Carolina, and I am in the big dining room where we are going to be having a 4-course meal. This fireplace is huge, and it's crackling. I can hear it snapping and crackling, and it is heating up this room really well. There are 5 giant ceiling heaters that are just pouring out heat. She said they'll turn them off when we eat because it's intense heat, but it feels good because it's very cold outside. Everyone is seated for dinner now. Someone came with a xylophone to notify us that it was time to sit down. I thought that was a nice touch. Look at how beautiful everything looks. Before the first course, Mr. Pickwick started the reading of A Christmas Carol. It's an abbreviated version designed for such an occasion. He didn't act it out, but he certainly used his voice to full effect to create the mood and take us back to this time and place.
Figure, like an old man diminished to a child's proportions, it held a branch of fresh green holly in its hand. "Oh, are you the spirit, sir?" asked.
They took our drink and food orders, but it wasn't until 7:20 that we got our first course. The first course was a soup. It was a butternut squash and ginger soup, and I thought it was very good. The second course was a green salad, and that was great too. There were many choices for our entree. We could choose duck, tenderloin, beef, salmon, pork roast, or lamb. I chose the pork roast because I knew I was going to have a beef tenderloin the next day. And as it turned out, I'm sure glad I did. My husband had the duck. I enjoyed my pork. It was tender, and I was very hungry by the time it came because I'd say maybe 2 hours had passed, and my husband said he enjoyed his duck. However, almost everyone at the table had the grilled tenderloin, and I thought, ooh, maybe I made a mistake, but it turned out there was a great difficulty in cutting it. It wasn't all that tender. And I felt really bad because the man next to me left about half of his tenderloin on the plate. And I thought he must still be hungry. And how disappointing was that? He didn't complain about it. No one at the table complained. Everyone but one person left a part of their beef on the plate. So I thought that was really sad because this was a pricey dinner. What are you going to do? I was just glad I had my pork. Then we got to dessert, and the choices were bread pudding, tiramisu, sticky toffee pudding, and an apple strudel. I didn't know what sticky toffee pudding was, so I didn't want to take a chance on it. So I ordered the bread pudding because I always like bread pudding. I like the sauce that goes on it. So the bread pudding arrived, and there was no sauce on it. It was just bread with some flavoring. So that was disappointing. The man next to me had the apple strudel. That looked really good and probably was one of the best desserts. My husband had the tiramisu because he loves tiramisu, but I'd never seen a tiramisu like this. It was all bread and very little miso, if that's a word. I tasted it and it tasted like all bread, which is really weird. After dessert, we were served a smoking bishop, which is a mulled wine holiday punch from Dickens' A Christmas Carol. There was a final reading that wrapped up A Christmas Carol, and then we got on the bus and went back home. It was a very silent bus. Let me tell you, everybody was tired and full. So that was our adventure. Would I do it again? I don't think so, because the whole idea was I thought that there was going to be delicious food, and I would say the food was fair. The reading was very good. He is an actor, and his voice was so dramatic and so deep and forceful that he really brought you into the scene. So that was great. Sometimes we couldn't see him. He would be in another room. That wasn't so great. I liked it when he was facing us and we could see him do the reading, but that only happened for 2 of the scenes. So that's my story, and Yes, it was interesting, and it's always fun to do something I've never done before. And this is certainly one of those things. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and happy holidays to everyone.